It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And this is CarEdge Live for Thursday, February 13th, the day before Cupid screws everybody with an arrow and whatever. And we're your hosts, me, Ray, taking shots at Cupid, and, well, handsome Zach. How are you today?
Happy Thursday, day before Valentine's Day. I am great. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. We have a sponsor for today's show, a new sponsor, so we're going to need you all to show them love. Lease, and we're going to be talking about them in about 5 to 10 minutes. Link in the top of the description. Before that, Dad,
Yes.
CarEdge.com, the company that you and I started 5+ years ago. We got to talk about it here for just a moment.
Yes.
$100 off for a limited time for our concierge car buying service, your Valentine's Day gift. Just got here even sooner. CarEdge.com/concierge doing a limited time $100 off promotion there. Check out the website, folks. I am so impressed by everything that our team has done under research, especially including those window stickers, man. So excited about window stickers. If you haven't used them already, we have a 100% free window sticker generator. Just go to CarEdge.com, click on research, and then from here, click on free window sticker to learn more. All right, Dad, the big story this morning.
Wait, the big story. Wait. The big story is CarEdge is showing the love, baby. I just needed to get that in. I'm sorry.
The big story this morning, Dad, is automakers have abandoned regular people, regular customers. And we have 2 data points this morning that are going to demonstrate that better than ever before. The first one here, Dad, is by way of looking at the automakers' earnings, or excuse me, the car dealers' earnings. Penske Automotive Group just released their fourth quarter earnings this morning, and their profit increased 24% year over year. Now, this is a big deal, Dad, because Penske Automotive, the group you used to work for, almost 80% of the vehicles that they sell are luxury cars. They sell a lot of Audis, a lot of BMWs, a lot of luxury vehicles. 80% are luxury vehicles. Juxtapose that with, Dad, AutoNation, which is another tremendously large car dealer group. Their net income, their profit actually went down 14%. AutoNation services much more of the mass market brands, not the luxury vehicles. Data point number 1 this morning showing how automakers and car dealers have abandoned regular people and are just trying to make sure that they can sell cars to those luxury shoppers.
When I saw the title of today's show, automakers have abandoned regular people, I was trying to decide what exactly we meant by regular people. Are these the people that are drinking prune juice every morning, or are these just the majority of Americans? And I believe what we're really talking about here is the majority of Americans. And that is that fully around 85% of all people who would think about shopping for a new car, 85% of those people say they can't participate in the new car market as it is structured today. That the cost of the new vehicles is out of their reach. The cost of the monthly payments is out of their reach. And so you can look, and when you look between Penske and Automotive News, you can see that the Penske organization many years ago decided that the direction they wanted to go was luxury brands. That's where they saw the growth was going to be. Many years ago, they realized that the chasm between the haves and the have-nots was just going to continue to grow. And they put their eggs in the basket of, well, let's just sell cars to people who actually have the money and can afford to buy them. Whereas other publicly traded companies went in the opposite direction, figuring they should go with mass market brands. And pre-pandemic, that was working out pretty well. After the pandemic, where we have seen tremendous amount of inflation in MSRPs, it ain't working anymore because 85% of their potential customers are no longer potential customers. And so, the automakers abandoned regular people, the majority of Americans. They made a conscious decision And they said, we can get by without them. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, Cadillac, your luxury brands, Audi, that are out there, the brands that the Penske organization sells, they knew that there were enough well-heeled customers to be able to support continued growth in their market.
I think that when you really start to peel the onion back, that it becomes very clear that the strategy of appealing to luxury shoppers is more lucrative and more sustainable, at least right now, than trying to appeal to regular people, mass market buyers. I want to pull up even more data that demonstrates this, and then we're going to take a moment to talk about, again, today's sponsor, Lease. And KBB report average new vehicle prices fell in January, but were higher year over year by 1.3%. I read through all this data, Dad, and it is really fascinating. The average transaction price for a new car in the month of January was $48,641, up there in the top right, which was actually down 2.2% from December, which I will explain in a moment here why that happened. That being said, still up 1.3% year over year. We also saw incentives decline month over month, from 8% of the average transaction price being made up for, subsidized, incentivized by the automaker, down to 7.2%. That being said, you're still picking up almost $3,500 in incentives when you go and buy a new car, which is up 29.2% year over year. And the percentage of the average transaction price that incentives were this time last year was 5.6%. So again, has gone up significantly. Now, what's interesting here, Dad, average transaction prices often drop notably month over month in January as the mix of luxury brand sales peak in December and tumble in January. Many of the top luxury brands, including Audi, BMW, Cadillac, and Lexus, posted significantly fewer sales in January compared to December, with some brand sales volumes lower than by more than 50%. So what's fascinating to me here is that the data that Cox Automotive is sharing with us about average transaction prices is only down 2.2% from December. So your average new car transaction price is still almost $50,000. Yet the luxury brands, some of the luxury brands, their sales that actually then influence the average for the entire industry were off by 50% or more than 50% month over month. That means that those automakers who abandoned us regular people and went luxury, well, even when the luxury automakers did that, there weren't options. There weren't options from the regular automakers and brands to actually meet us. That's what that tells me.
I think what you're saying is that even if luxury sales declined by 50% month over month, that mass market brands are so high priced today that their average transaction prices are relatively close to what the average transaction price would be for a luxury vehicle.
Yep.
Now, if I'm a customer, am I going to overpay for that mass market brand, or am I going to figure out how to save a few more bucks so I can actually afford that luxury brand? I think if it were me, I would rather figure out how to save a few more bucks so I could just buy the luxury brand rather than overpay for a mass market brand that's pretending to be a luxury vehicle.
I want to go to some good news, but before I do, Pops, we need to turn our attention to the sponsor of today's show, Lease. And Dad, dealerships are notorious at making it difficult and expensive to buy out your lease. It shouldn't be expensive to buy out your lease because there's a set price. But you know what? Yes. These dealerships, they find a way. Car dealers profit by keeping you in your leasing cycle, making buyouts confusing, time-consuming, and packed with unnecessary fees. They use dealership pressure tactics and long wait times to discourage buyouts. Now, LeaseEnd, the sponsor of today's show, helps you take control over that lease buyout process. You can skip the dealership hassle, no more upsells or long waits or hidden fees. And you can keep your car's equity if you're in that position. If your car is worth more than a buyout price, that value belongs to you, not the dealer. Now, you can get the best loan options and work with multiple banks to secure better rates. LeaseEnd does that all for you. Now, you can go take control of your LeaseEnd today. Go back to leaseend.com/CarEdge. We have the link in the at the top of the description below. Dad, I love and I'm thrilled that we're partnering with LeaseEnd here. They're making it easy, a one-stop shop to get out of your lease at the end of the term. You don't even have to go to the dealership really, really, really grateful that we've been able to partner with them.
Well, it is. And I might just have to give them a try, because what the hell? I was in my Mini today. It's got 8,808 miles on it. The lease is up in May. Maybe somebody going to talk sense into me between now and then, but maybe I should just buy that damn car, and I should skip the dealership, and I should just go direct to Lease End to help me make that happen.
All right. If we do it, folks, you'll want to tune in and learn more about the experience. I've personally worked with the team over at Lease End. Very excited about this partnership. Now, Dad, the good news I want to leave you and our community with. The year-over-year average transaction price increase of approximately 1.3% in January was well below long-term averages. Now, listen to this.
Okay.
From 2020 to 2024, average transaction prices increased an average of 4.9% a year, with average gains of 9% in both 2021 and 2022. In the 7 years prior, however, from 2013 to 2019, new vehicle average transaction prices, on average, were higher year over year by approximately 3%. So we are seeing some cooling down of the annual increase in new car average transaction prices, 1.3% versus a historical average of 3%, and significantly down from 2021 and 2022. When year over year, if you went to go buy a new car, the average transaction price went up by almost 10%. We're talking $4,000 jumps each year back then. That was craziness.
Well, it was crazy, and it was the reason for it. If you look a little deeper, is because there were chip shortages those years. So with a limited supply of chips for automotive, the manufacturers had to decide where they were going to allocate those chips. They knew production was going to be down because of those shortages. So they decided to allocate the chips to their biggest profit margin vehicles, which are, just so I can help you with this, the higher priced vehicles have the higher profit margins. So when they had a limited ability to produce vehicles, they were just producing the expensive stuff because that's their biggest profit margin for when they wholesale those vehicles to their dealers. So that's the reason that the jumps in average transaction prices were so high in 2021 and 2022 because of limited production capabilities. If they had the normal chips available to them, my guess is that the average transaction prices would have gone up what was historically normal, about 3 to 3.5% annually.
Sure. But obviously, they did not because of that circumstance. And finally, they're starting to go back down. More good news. This is a quote from one of the analysts, Aaron Keating at Cox Automotive. I love so many aspects of this quote. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
After a surprisingly hot December, both new vehicle sale volume and prices were lower in January as the market took a seasonal breather. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
The quote continues. Notably, Jeep brand average transaction prices in January were lower year over year by almost 9% as the storied automaker continues to manage and this is a quote, perceived price challenge. In fact, Jeep average transaction prices in January were close to $49,000. Not far, still above, but not far from the industry average. And the lowest point, let this sink in, team, the lowest point in more than 3 years. So the car market is healing, evidently. That's what the data from Jeep suggests. Wow.
Well, I like that perceived. It's real. It ain't perceived. Okay, they raised their prices too damn much, and the fact that their average transaction prices were down 9% when they probably need to be down 19%. Okay, and because their average transaction price on a Jeep shouldn't be $49,000, it's a step in the right direction. So kudos to them for moving in the right direction. But it is an indictment on the previous power team at the Carlos Tavares when he was CEO of allowing Jeep to raise MSRPs by 61% over the last 5 years. And during that time, Jeep sales have gone down and to the right.
Yep, 34%.
You always tell me those charts look better when they're up and to the right. So they've been down and to the right for 6 consecutive years. They've lost so much market share. I don't know, that they needed to pay Harrison Ford a poop ton of money to make a commercial for the Super Bowl with the hopes of appealing to the emotions of the American people to go out and overpay for a Jeep today. Yeah, the perceived idea that, maybe they're a tad overpriced.
Perception is reality. But I mean, good news. Down 9% in their lowest price point in the past 3 years. And it continues to speak volumes, to automakers have abandoned us regular folks, us people who want to have, I don't know, a card payment under $500 a month, under $400 a month, under $300 a month. They abandoned us.
You're dreaming, buddy. You're dreaming. You're in this fever-induced dream, that you're going to be able to find payments of under $400 a month. Now, we have found out that you can, assuming you're willing to lease some type of EV that nobody wants. And if you're willing to do that for 3 years, you can get a payment under $300 a month. So there are the vehicles that are affordable today via a lease are the vehicles that are least desirable to the people that are out there buying cars at the moment. But if you are indeed just a payment buyer, and about 83% of the population is, then you need to consider an EV for the next 36 months, because there are some pretty phenomenal deals to be had on EVs where you can get a very, very inexpensive payment. Even if you have to overpay to charge at a public charging station, it's still going to be less than if you had to gas the damn vehicle.
Yep.
So for people with limited payment abilities, a lease is the way to go. Now, oftentimes those people whose payment capabilities are somewhat limited also might not necessarily have the credit score to qualify for the best tier at that lease payment, but one can hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's switch gears, Dad, and let's talk a little bit about ... Nissan. Nissan's CEO coming out, and they are in a dire situation over there. These are big, drastic moves from a multi-billion-dollar corporation. You don't see them moving this fiercely, this quickly, and this deeply. It's almost like private equity took over Nissan and is now cutting it to the bone. Nissan to close 3 factories, cut shifts in the U.S., and bid to end back-to-back quarterly net losses. Dad, the story here is wild. CEO Makoto Uchida, desperately trying to dig out from back-to-back quarterly net losses, plans to shutter those factories, cut shifts in the U.S., and slash the executives by 20% and look for new partners in a bid to keep the Japanese car maker going. It's not looking good over at Nissan, man.
No, I mean, these are desperate times call for desperate measures. And listen, when I had my golf store in Mesa, Arizona, and I knew things were bad, you look to do desperate things in order to increase cash flow, increase sales. But you also know, at least from my experience, you also know that more than likely it ain't going to work. Okay. And they know at Nissan that more than likely the things that they have planned are probably not going to work. They're probably not going to succeed. But you have to at least try it, because if you don't, then, you're just going out of business sooner rather than later. And
you got to go down fighting. You got to go down fighting, Dad.
Yeah, they're going to do their best to see to it that, it's later, not sooner.
Yeah, but these are big moves. And It really does cause some of the most confusion I have when analyzing and trying to understand this industry, because Nissans are cheap. And they're not all cheap, but a lot of them are cheap. You know me. I love going to my favorite CarEdge machine. I mean, Nissans are not necessarily expensive, especially when you put them into the context of all these other very expensive vehicles. Let's do our favorite game here. Go Nissan. $33,000 for a new Nissan Rogue. Okay, sure. The Murano at $50,000. Wow, that is ugly too. Holy, are you serious? That's what the new Murano looks like?
That's what the new Murano looks like.
Who asked for that?
Mikado Uchida. And then after he asked for it, he said, "You know what? Maybe we should cut production."
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
But my point was, these MSRPs are not sky high. I mean, especially the Rogues.
Well, if the average transaction price today is $48,600, these are well below the average transaction prices. Well,
this one's the silly one. Who's buying an $80,000 Nissan? I don't know. But this is the thing that confounds me, is because why don't Nissan sell?
Can I explain to you who's buying that $80,000 Nissan?
Please.
The person that wants a big vehicle like that hasn't been able to get approved on a Yukon or a Suburban, and they're going to the Nissan dealership, and it's basically, if you can get me approved, I'll buy it. And then the Nissan dealer is going to beg, borrow, and steal to convince their buyer at NEMAC, we need this deal. We need to move another unit. Please, please, please approve this customer. And that's the person, I'm sorry, but that's the person that's buying it, because they can't get approved anywhere else for the other vehicles that they might consider. Sorry.
Yeah, I believe it, Dad. I absolutely believe it. But it is interesting, the big swings that they're having to take over at Nissan amidst all the challenges that they're facing. 183,405 brand new Nissans on dealer lots right now, and many of them with MSRPs in the mid to low 30s. You'd think they'd sell, but they're not.
They don't. And did you see in that article that Nissan has the capability of producing 5.5 million vehicles?
That's so many
and
cars.
they want to produce about 3.5 million. Well, okay. So that means if they want to produce like 3.5 million of the 5.5 million that they can produce, that their factories are underutilized.
Big time.
Okay, so let's get rid of some so that our at least our factory utilization can go up and be a more appropriate number.
Think about that for a second. Think about how off they were with their supply and demand projections, that they got themselves in a position, because it's not cheap, I imagine, Dad, to either build or buy a factory or lease a factory. Okay, that's got to be awfully expensive on the balance sheet, right?
I'm guessing
5.5 million, yet they actually want to be producing 3.5 million. They got the supply and demand way wrong.
And worldwide global inventory levels for Nissan are sitting at 660,000 vehicles, when they really want that number to be somewhere around 350,000 vehicles. They are in such deep poop that it is virtually impossible, when you're that deep into it, that you can see any light at the end of the tunnel.
Is Nissan the most negotiable brand right now, Dad? Like, if you're a Nissan dealer, what dealer is making bigger deals right now than a Nissan dealer?
Well, Nissan dealers should be making deals right now,
because they got the stair-step program reenacted. Yeah. We know the stair-step program's going on. If you didn't see our video about that, Nissan dealers are getting an additional $1,000 for every new Nissan they sell once they hit certain volume thresholds. I mean, they have incentive to move the metal.
But when you see comments, and I read the comments, apparently so many of these Nissan dealers are delusional, and it's like they're not willing to work with the customers in order to figure out how to get a deal. They're not willing to shorten the gross profit that they're looking to make. maybe their theory is, you know what? We got to get all the money we can because, well, we're going to be out of business in the future anyway. So we might as well grab as much profit as we can between now and the end. That has to be, in my mind, the way some of these dealers are operating. They can read the handwriting on the wall, okay, that Nissan's not going to make it. Well, if they're going to lose their dealership, they're going to make as much money as they can before the brand goes bye-bye. That's at least my thinking.
No, I think you could be onto something here. I absolutely think you could be onto something. Hey, quick shout out to Nathan. Nathan, appreciate the kind contribution. If you had a message that you're trying to send with that, feel free to put it in the chat now. We'll put our eyes on it. We appreciate that, Nathan. Now, Dad, we've got another really interesting phenomenon going on in the car market today. It has to do with auto insurance. Auto insurance rates. We got the latest data. Justin just posted this back on caredge.com/guide. Yeah. Auto insurance rates are up 12% just in the past year. And there's the expectation that tariffs will actually increase auto insurance rates even more. Analysts expect new car prices to rise by $6,000 due to tariffs. Great if they go back into effect. But your auto insurance rates are expected to climb even more on top of that.
Well, if the price of the vehicle that you're insuring is higher than it used to be, the cost of replacing it if there's an accident means it's higher, so your premium goes up. I read some good news here in Atlantic City, the Atlantic City area, that they only expect the electric rates for Atlantic City Electric to go up 17.7% for the summer. Oh, great. Wonderful.
Yeah, I hope your employer increased your compensation by 17.7%, Dad. But I don't know. Maybe you'll have to have a conversation with them.
My employer did not. I don't understand why not, but they did not. But maybe they will now that they understand that I am under severe economic pressures.
Hey, I think we all are if you own a car. Holy cow, are those insurance costs getting unhinged. Now, if you are going to hold on to your vehicle, it's worth mentioning we currently have a $200 off promotion going on for vehicle service contracts, also commonly referred to as extended warranties. You can check that out, caredge.com/warranty. So we have the promo running there right now for the next few days. Check it out back at caredge.com/warranty. Might make more sense for more people to keep themselves out of the market and just hold on to these things, because new car would have likely a higher insurance rate than that used car you're holding on to. Obviously, we just talked about the fact that the average transaction price for these new cars is still near $50,000, even though it's come down. I don't know. Could make sense just to hold on to things.
Yeah, I think it could, and it's I just got to commend you again for the good folks and everybody at CarEdge showing the love to the public out there with savings on extended warranties, vehicle service contracts, and of course, the concierge service.
From Chandler, thank you, Chandler. Nissan and Honda merger has been scrapped. Yes, things have gotten, again, we said dire. The cuts that we were just talking about that Nissan's making, they have the capacity to overproduce by 2 million vehicles. So they're shutting down factories. They're slashing executives. They're doing RIFs. Reductions in force, nation or globally. So yeah, it's a bad moment for the Nissan brand.
They're talking about reducing the auto line workers, those who actually build the vehicles, by 6,500 employees. 6,500. That's a huge number.
Yeah,
but of course, when you have to drop your production by 2 million,
that's such a big number.
It just gets you to question, how the hell did they get so deep into this? I mean, at what point?
Oh, the writing must have been on the wall. What, 3 years ago?
4 years ago.
Yeah.
So 5 years ago, whenever. I mean, but how could they have been so slow to react to? I mean, they collect the data. They know. Their dealers file a financial statement every month. So they know what the dealers are selling and at what price points they're selling the vehicles at. They could see the slowdown. I mean, what took them so long to make the necessary adjustments. And the initial adjustments when they started, it was like a little bit here, a little bit there. Well, now it's like, okay, let's chop off our right leg and see if we can run our personal best in the 100 meters. It doesn't work like that. I'm sorry.
You're not running your personal best when you chop off your leg?
You are not. You might be crawling your personal best, but you're not running your personal best.
Again, we had a sponsor for today's show, new sponsor, Lease. And please, if you have a vehicle lease, click on the link in the top of the description or go to leaseend.com/CarEdge. Great work that they're doing over there. We're really proud and excited to partner with those guys. Speaking of personal bests,
yes,
I ran my personal best this morning for 2 miles. I ran 2 miles in 12 minutes, Dad. That's pretty freaking fast. I was fired up. I'm still fired up. I've never run 2 miles in 12 minutes before. I was stoked.
What was chasing you? That's all I think.
Good energy. It was at 6 a.m. in the morning, running 2 6-minute miles back to back. Oh, I was fired up, man.
Yeah, well, what had you so fired up?
All right, let's see if we can help Adam out really quick. What is the commercial truck market outlook for 2025? What's going on in the commercial truck market? I still think we are going to continue to see downward pressure kind of across the board, even with like Toyotas and things like that. And that will look different based on how popular the vehicles are that you're looking for, supply and demand. We know those heavy-duty trucks, you can get deals, but the deals are not nearly going to be as good as like the F-150s that have been sitting at 20% off MSRP. So deals, but not nearly as massive deals.
And I personally will say to you, I have no idea about the commercial truck market, other than news that I read yesterday is that Isuzu Motors, which was a player in regular vehicles in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and I guess early 2000s, is going to come back and produce vehicles here, commercial trucks, cabin chassis, things like that here in South Carolina. What you might not remember, well, you probably wouldn't, is Isuzu, they had the Trooper and some other vehicles. And their commercial pitch, they had Joe Isuzu as their spokesperson, and Joe Isuzu was the embodiment of the lying salesman, and he would lie in the ads about stupid stuff. It was some really funny stuff. David Leisure, who was a comedian and actor at that time, played the part of Joe Isuzu. So my hope would be is that we get Joe Isuzu back for the Isuzu commercial trucks. You're
taking us down memory lane here, man. That's incredible.
God knows where I'll take it.
Andrew, thank you for the kind contribution and for this as well. For Nissan, best Versa trim level below $25,000. All right, let's go to the research machine, baby, because I don't know off the top of my head the answer to this one.
Me neither.
All right, so here's what we're going to do, Andrew. Come into the CarEdge website. I'm going to click on research. Nissan. We're talking about that Versa.
Versa, everybody's favorite.
All right, so then on the Versa page here, I want to go to pricing. Boom. There we go. Here's our MSRP breakdown by trim for the Nissan Versa. So they're all under 25K, which is looking good. That being said,
yes,
that's for the Versa. I also saw we have Versa sedan right here. Cool. That doesn't change anything. Just wanted to double check. Yeah. So you're sitting pretty under 25,000 right there for the Nissan Versa. Have a field day, Andrew. Enjoy all those trim levels.
Now that you're on the Google machine, Google Joe Isuzu and see if we can maybe just pull up an old commercial and you'll see.
Yeah, looks like there's some videos and things. Yeah.
Oh, it was play one. I mean, you just have to play one. Those commercials were some of the funniest commercials on TV.
If I'm lying, whoa. If I'm lying, may lightning hit my mother.
Good luck.
It has more seats than that. All right, let's all watch. Give me a second.
Yeah, these were some of the funniest national commercials you would ever see.
I don't think.
How fast is the new
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Isuzu Impulse Turbo? How does 950 miles per hour sound? The Impulse Turbo. Faster than a speeding... Well, you know.
Whoa.
Gosh, it's Joe Isuzu.
Honey, you just killed Joey Zuzu.
He's trying to say
Look
something.
at his leg. His leg's all
He said
bent.
the Isuzu Axiom has more horsepower,
This is happening.
dual mode suspension, and it's 6,000 less than your Volvo Cross Country.
We gotta do something. So we can roll him onto the street or cover him up. Where'd he go? There's a Jeep Cherokee just a few blocks out. Nice work.
I can't believe Isuzu still isn't a best-selling pickup. Maybe we should run an ordinary commercial like everyone else.
The all-new Isuzu pickup! More standard features than you deserve. High-speed, double-wall cargo bed and the largest payload in its class. Yet it's the lowest-priced import truck in America.
Nice, huh?
Now with factory incentives, save like there's no tomorrow. The all-new Isuzu pickup, it has sizzle. Consult this directory full of either nearest you.
Don't make me do that again.
Now you could save up to $1,100 at Isuzu's No Ordinary sale.
Yep, there was Joey.
Wow. I mean, I could watch those all day long. We'll
Yeah.
save some for tomorrow. That's really awesome, Dad. Okay, folks, we had some contributions come in, so give me 1 second here from Adam. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Is a Silverado 2500 made like heavy duty trucks? I think so. I don't know. I'm not going to claim to be a specialist when it comes to, well, actually, let's see if we have the data. Give me a second here. You know what, Dad? Let's see if I can do more than just a cop-out answer. But I'm not a heavy-duty pickup truck specialist by any stretch.
Probably be the 3500, I would think.
Let's check the specs on it really quick. Specs. Oh my gosh, there's so many freaking trim levels. The reason I was coming here is so that we could see all the specs. Wow. Like we have the what I want to find is like towing capacity and things like that. Here's my suggestion, Adam. Run through all the specs. I'm not a pickup truck specialist. Or you ready for this one, Dad?
Yeah.
Let's go to Raybot. Let's ask Raybot, because Raybot has all of our data built into them. Is the Chevy Silverado
2500
built like a heavy duty pickup truck?
And what do I say?
Yes. The Chevrolet Silverado 2500 heavy duty is a heavy duty truck built for tough tasks. It is designed for heavy duty work and offers strong engines. The Silverado 2500 heavy duty is known for its off-road abilities and features tech like an 11.3-inch touchscreen and underbody cameras. There you go. Yeah. Thank goodness for Raybot.
Wow. Thank goodness that you have created. The team has created Raybot.
Or if you don't like AI, go to caredge.com/community and you can ask other human beings that are there to help you as well. Okay, folks, that's a show. Again, we've got all sorts of promotions and things going on right now. Check them out back at caredge.com. Thank you to our sponsor once again, Lease. Dad will do it again tomorrow. We've got a Mazda dealer joining us tomorrow to talk about the experience they're having at their dealership. So tune in for that. Much love and happy Thursday.
Same to you, handsome, and looking forward to doing this again tomorrow.
See you then.
Yep.